I knew once Kishimoto took over as the main writer of a manga, the overall quality would just rise. We're talking about one of the GOAT mangaka, he knows what he's doing. If you're not reading Boruto, I think you need to start immediately. I know it's a bit slow, but I guarantee you won't regret it. With all the exciting events happening in the Boruto manga, we've got an insane plot twist. But we can confidently say that we're now transitioning into the highly anticipated time skip. Now that Boruto is the villain of the story, yes, you heard me right. Like, who let this man Kishimoto cook?
Wait, let him cook.
One of the most significant points was that Momoshiki foreshadowed that some of these blue eyes would eventually take everything from Boruto. Initially, I thought he was talking about Boruto's own blue eyes, but it turns out I was wrong. It was actually Eida's blue eyes, her Senringan, that was a real threat. So before I get into a video, I know only 80% of the guys who watch my videos are subscribed to me, so don't forget to subscribe and stay updated on future developments in the manga. For ages since chapter 1, we've known that the time skip was eventually gonna come. We're shown the destruction of the Hidden Leaf village. It could be Koda's doing, since we know he is building an army to destroy the village, but I think most of us assumed that it was Kawaki's doing since he's the one who threatened to send Boruto where he sent Naruto. So I knew that Kawaki would eventually snap and go rogue. With where the story has recently been heading, it's all beginning to make sense and piece together. Kawaki is broken. He admits that he's oddly fixated on Naruto ever since he became his first father-like figure within his life. But it's more obsessive than that. It's more insane than that. He completely resents the Otsutsuki like Ishiki, who tortured and twisted Kawaki into an Otsutsuki himself. Kawaki views the entire Otsutsuki clan as destructive monsters who want to kill Naruto and destroy his new life, which for him is unforgivable. Kawaki is now shaping up to be this oddly interesting villain, arguably one of the best in shonen right now. He's this antagonist who is completely deluded by his own philosophy and wishes. Kawaki states that although he respects Boruto as his brother, he doesn't trust Momoshiki, believing that the only way to protect Naruto and the village is by killing his son, who happens to be Momoshiki's host. Something he wouldn't even hesitate to do. This pushes Hinata to slap Kawaki across the face, since she isn't going to take his threat to her son's life lightly as his mother. Kawaki is then forced to seal Naruto and Hinata away in a Daikokuten realm, which doesn't have any time within it, keeping them frozen for safekeeping. So will they ever get out? If so, when? Well, we do know that after the time skip, Kawaki tells Boruto that he'll send him where he sent Naruto. So we can assume that Naruto and Hinata at the very least have been trapped within the Daikokuten realm for a few years now and won't age. But as of currently, these are the least of Boruto's problems. Kawaki has now aligned himself with Amado's cyborgs, Eida and her little brother Damien, who are even stronger than, yes, Jigen. Eida has incredible abilities like being able to make anybody fall in love with her, and Damien can reflect any harmful intent back onto his opponent. Amado explained that their powers originate from the DNA of a dead Otsutsuki god, but it wasn't any ordinary one. His name was Shibai, and over thousands of years he had repeatedly resurrected himself through the karma, and ate hundreds of chakra fruits, until he ultimately evolved into what he calls a god, who could cause divine miracles to occur just by existing and waving his hands around. He dubbed this ability Shinjutsu, and it was these abilities that Eida and Damien can use to a lesser degree, since they aren't true Otsutsuki. This Otsutsuki god supposedly even surpassed godhood, as his consciousness ascended beyond the three-dimensional axis, allowing Shibai to leave his physical body behind to become a higher dimensional being, meaning that he probably views the Narutoverse as fiction, kinda like we do, and is clearly beyond the level of anybody else in the story. Now, it isn't clear whether Shibai is actually this evil entity, but his name does mean trickster, so I'm very wary about his character. I think it's very clear that his character is meant to be this transcendent being inspired by Kishimoto's short-lived series Samurai 8, which is based on Buddhist lore and has a strange cosmology built of many dimensions which the protagonist has to ascend upwards of. In Buddhism, the goal of a monk is to escape the six paths cycle of samsara and reincarnation to achieve nirvana. Since Naruto is heavily inspired by Buddhism too, you've probably heard about these terms before. For example, it's almost the goal of every villain within a series to transcend life and death, and that's what the Rinnegan represents, the cycle of samsara. It's why in Boruto the Rinnegan is no longer the peak of ocular ability, since we've been introduced to far more powerful dojutsu like the Damagon. Shibai has basically reached nirvana, which is the perfect state of being, or in other words, spiritual liberation. The goal of gods who have reached this peak is to help others reach it too. So it could very well be the case that Shibai is a neutral or good being who's trying to help others also reach this state of being. It's very hard to say since Momoshiki implies that Otsutsuki gods have altered realities and memories of humanity in the past in devious ways. Momoshiki also initially claimed that Eida's power was unknown and thought that Amado was lying about her charm ability even being a Shinjutsu in the first place. However, in the next chapter, he said that he finally identified the ability, but didn't tell Boruto what it was exactly, smirking mischievously. However, in the most recent chapter, it's revealed that her charm ability is apparently a derivative of a shinjitsu called omnipotence. Well, technically, it's not a shinjitsu. It's a shinjitsu beyond a shinjitsu, used by the very strongest Otsutsuki gods to create and program reality. It allows for the materialization of a user's desire and dreams. Kawaki wished that he was Naruto's son, and Boruto was an outsider. Eida granted this since she seems to be in love with Kawaki, so omnipotence granted Kawaki's wish. Kawaki and Boruto's situations switched. This is a massive plot twist. I can't believe something like this happened. I don't think anybody could have predicted this. And we know this is a case since it's shown by the fact that village stand opposed to Boruto. So is Himari now Boruto's sister, or is she Kawaki's sister? We really don't know what's happened. In this instance, the wish was granted by altering humanity's memories through the interconnected chakra. Momoshiki says that Otsutsuki gods have altered the memories of humans before without them realizing. Anyway, Momoshiki states that Boruto has now lost everything. Now that everybody's opposed to Boruto, including Sasuke, what's next? Well, we finally see that memory of Mitsuki being very angry. We assumed that he was angry at Kawaki and was gonna attack him, but it was actually Boruto that Mitsuki was attacking due to him thinking that he was responsible for Naruto's disappearance. Sarada seems to be confused about what's going on. This is when Momoshiki says that this particular alteration of memories doesn't affect those with Otsutsuki DNA. But oddly enough, it hasn't affected Sarada either, which was already established much earlier if you think about it. Sarada and Sumire weren't affected by Eida's charm ability. I think I can confidently say that neither of them have Otsutsuki DNA, so how come they're both immune? I'm not quite sure, but there's a clear connection between the two of them and Boruto. I think they clearly both have feelings towards him. I have a feeling that maybe romantic love could be the counter to omnipotence, but it's too early to say. Now that all of this has happened, Boruto has to run, because even if he was strong enough to beat the entire village including Sasuke, why would he hurt his comrades? Boruto will probably be classed as a rogue ninja now, and will have to leave the village alone. Sarada could join him, but I don't think that would work. Boruto said that he didn't want to become the Hokage, but rather is defender from the shadows like Sasuke. The point of his departure is meant to parallel Sasuke's journey in a way across the world as a lone wolf, so he can follow in his footprints and learn the path as a solitary ninja, paving his own way. As indicated by the fact that Boruto wears Sasuke's cloak and carries his sword, suggesting that Sasuke could die in the near future, but we're not quite sure how yet. I doubt that Boruto kills him. It could be Kawaki's doing. It could even be Code's doing. We'll just have to wait and see. Although Boruto isn't on a journey of redemption like Sasuke, he had mostly only experienced cozy life inside Konoha as a spoiled son of a Hokage. Especially at the beginning of the story, a lot of people didn't like the character of Boruto. But now that he's lost those entitlements, I think he's got a chance to explore the world, learn the way of a shinobi and prove people wrong. Remember, Naruto claimed to Sasuke that Boruto and his future generation have it easy, and have forgotten what it means to be a shinobi, the way of a shinobi. However, Sasuke disagreed by saying that the heart of a shinobi will always remain the same, throughout time. It's implied that Boruto now finally understands what it means to be a shinobi by the time he faces Kawaki in the future. We know that Kawaki possibly destroys the village and claims that the era of shinobi has now come to an end. But Boruto then mirrors Sasuke by saying that he's still a shinobi and puts his headband back on, proving Sasuke right. So enough about what happens to Boruto. With Naruto gone for the foreseeable future, what happens to the village? One major issue is who becomes Hokage. Now without a doubt, I think the most surprising candidate would be Konohamaru, and I don't think a lot of people would disagree. I would genuinely be shocked if he was made Hokage, since despite him wanting to be Hokage, I just don't think he's mature or strong enough to be Hokage. Unless he was shown to have stronger abilities, possibly have Sage Mode, something like that, but even then I would doubt him. I think a better candidate would be Sakura, who is definitely smart enough and strong enough to be Hokage, since she's harmed Otsutsuki before and can defend the village. I'm not sure if she has the leadership skills necessary to be Hokage, but neither did Tsunade, her master, so who knows? For sure, the coolest and by far the smartest candidate in my opinion would be Shikamaru, since he's already this genius who has experience of being Naruto's deputy for years, so he knows what it takes to be Hokage. He's also the most powerful candidate in my opinion, since in the novels he could easily subdue all of the other Kage simultaneously, and these are the new era Kage who could fight base Momoshiki and Kinshiki. But we've also seen Shikamaru restrain Kinshiki and Momoshiki using his Shadow Paralysis for a good while too, until Momoshiki absorbed it. So I think he's strong enough to at least protect the village decently against weaker Otsutsuki members. The most likely candidate, however, would probably be Kakashi to be reappointed as Hokage. Although I find this a little bit boring, It does make sense, since Hiruzen in the past had done a similar thing when Minato died. So it'd be like history repeating itself in a way. It's also said that Kakashi would take up a major role within the Boruto series at some point. We don't know when, but it would make sense if it is this role as Hokage, since we haven't seen much of Kakashi throughout the series. Although whether he's physically capable of being Hokage right now is a little bit questionable. So it might actually be a great way for this fan favorite to be relevant and show off his new powers, if he's learned any that is. Now, another interesting dilemma is the fact that Boruto lost his eye. Whether that's the Byakugan or Jogan, I think it depends on if you're using the manga or anime. However, in the time skip, he has access to what looks like a dojutsu. Maybe this is through Momoshiki who grants Boruto some sort of regeneration. Alternatively, it could be somebody else's eye. I don't know whose it could be, maybe like his mother, but she's sealed away right now with Naruto, so I don't think it's hers. Now, it could be Hinabi's, but unfortunately, I just don't think she's relevant enough for Boruto to obtain her eye or want her eye, really. Like, how many times has she been mentioned in the manga? Not that many times. Now, although this sounds messed up, it could be Himari's eye. Now, hear me out. I know this is weird, but since she has the Byakugan and is implied to have some sort of hidden potential that surpasses Damien, who's already stronger than even Jigen, she could be a likely candidate. At the same time, it's also unlikely since Himari will probably play her own major role within the series. I can't see Kishimoto just killing her off anytime soon, despite having all of this mystery around her character. Ultimately, I do think a time skip will happen soon. I know saying that is pretty much a meme at this point, but think about it, Boruto is literally now Rogue Ninja on the run now. So there isn't a lot to do anymore. Other than, like I said, explore the world like Sasuke did in a way. There could be interesting chapters about Boruto interacting with different people around the world. We know that he can hide his chakra since he's an Otsutsuki. Anyway, what do you guys think will happen in the next few chapters? This is a massive turning point, so literally anything could happen. As seen by this massive plot twist, Kishimoto just has a way of keeping everybody on their toes. It's unbelievable. So you can share your thoughts and comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more exciting updates, because I really don't want you to miss out on future content. The best thing to probably do is hit the bell icon, unironically, so you know every time I upload a new video. I have made a previous Boruto theory video about Amato possibly being this Otsutsuki, which could still technically be the case, so if you want to know more about that, check that video out. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace out.